Hi, everybody. I see we have some people filtering in. I'm going to give everybody a minute or two just to sign on, and then we'll get started. Hello to everybody else who just signed in. Just to let you all know, we're giving everyone about a minute or two to get on the line, and then we'll get started with the session. All right, I think we've got a pretty good group here. So welcome everybody to today's session. Thank you for joining. My name is Colin. I am on the Quali marketing team. And if you're unfamiliar with these sessions, we created these for a number of reasons. These started as small group demos for our customers to see the latest product updates that we have rolled out in Torque, our platform, which you're looking at here. And over time, it kind of grew into kind of an open session for anyone with interest in what's going on with Torque, right? So whether you're a long-time Torque user or maybe this is your first time seeing the platform, this is a pretty good opportunity to get a quick look at the latest functionality and submit questions to our team. We'll be monitoring those, and you may hear me chime in at any point with questions if they're relevant. One reminder for everybody, if you haven't created an account for Torque, a lot of people prefer to join this session while they're live in their account. So we're going to drop a link to create, we offer a 30-day free trial of the enterprise package of our platform. We're going to drop a link in the chat. If you follow that, you can create an account and follow along here. We're also going to be sending out the recording of this session. So if there's anything you missed while you're creating your account, you can come back to the recording and watch that. And our team is always available to request demos through our website at quali.com. So I think you've heard me talk for long enough now. I'm going to introduce my colleague, Alex Azar. He is on our solution engineering team. He spends almost all of his time working directly with Torque customers. So if you have a question about how Torque works or how to get the most out of Torque, you should be able to answer it. So I'm going to throw it over to Alex to get it started. Please submit your questions in the Q&A. I'll be keeping an eye on those, and I'll be chiming in with anything that might be relevant. All right, thank you, Alex.
Hi, thanks for the intro, Colin. Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining. So I'm Alex. I'm a principal architect at Quali. And today, we'll go over kind of an intro level demo about Torque. If you have any questions, feel free to interrupt me during the demo, or just keep it to the end, however you feel comfortable. But the way that I'd like to kind of describe Torque is that it's a control plane for DevOps and IT with environment as a service through environment as a service to end users. And obviously, I will show you in the demo what it actually means. Let's start with kind of a quick orientation of what we have here on the screen. Here, this is the homepage of our sample space. Spaces are, think of them like different containers or organizational units that allow you to segregate users inside your account and assign different RBAC permissions to each user in different spaces. So here, when you land here, you can see a quick snapshot of everything that's going on in your current space. Right now, I'm going to switch to a different space. That's where we have our demos ready. And all the end users, I'm going to start first with kind of the end user flow, and then we'll dive deeper into how everything is built and the more technical stuff. As an end user that just wants to just needs an environment to do his job, whether to test something or perhaps demo something, right? It's very easy. Just comes to this catalog. He has this tile of different blueprints that were published by the admin, pre-made in advance. I really like to think about it as a Netflix-like experience, where you select a tile, click play, and you get what you want. So, for example, I'm going to choose one of the blueprints here. Let's go for this one. So first, you can also immediately see the instructions for this blueprint. You can very easily create those instructions with a markup language. And here in the more info, you have a little bit more visibility, a little bit more description, right, about what this actually is going to launch, how much it's used, the different policies that control this blueprint. Right. Important to know that as end users cannot change these blueprints here, right? They can only launch them and create environments from them. So that's what I'm going to do right now. I'm going to click launch. On this window here, I can select the duration for my environment, or if I have the permissions and the policies allow it, I can also create the environment for it, kind of to run indefinitely. So what it actually means when I select the duration, it's essentially a TTL policy, right? Time to live. So it means that after 3 hours will expire, the environment and all the underlying resources that were created in the cloud will automatically be provisioned. It can provide by itself a huge cost savings, right? You don't have a lot of orphaned resources left in the cloud, which is something that I often encounter in many of the customers that I work with. And of course, if the user needs more time in the environment, there's option to extend and request more time, right? So we have this flow covered as well. Next, once you configure the time that you need, you can provide any parameters that are defined. This is very flexible, the engineer that created this blueprint template, you can decide what parameters are exposed to the end user. You can also provide additional tags, tag values that the user can choose. I will talk about tags in more details a little bit later. And you can also select what workflows you would like to be applied on your environment from a list of kind of published workflows. Workflows are essentially automations that can run on demand or on a certain schedule. So once I'm satisfied with everything, everything is going on here, I can simply click launch, go ahead and create an environment. So what actually is happening right now is, as you can see here, we have these two tiles. Each of these tiles represents like a wrapper. Think of it like a wrapper around a Terraform configuration. And this Terraform configuration is currently being executed on one of the agents that we have connected to this account and creating some cloud resources. In this example, we only have 2 Terraform modules, right? It can be much more complicated. The environment can include many different technologies. There's a huge breadth of different technologies we support besides Terraform. I'm just starting with kind of a more simple example on purpose. You can see here also the instructions themselves. If you are more technical and you're really interested to know what's going on behind the scene, then you can see the actual Terraform logs that of what's running, right? You can see the init, the plan, the apply log, everything is available for you. Here on the tags, this is a really cool feature and really important in my opinion. So what's happening here is that we automatically tag all the resources that are created in the environment. Right, so the cool thing here is that you can define your tagging strategy. You can set some, define some tags that are automatically applied for everything on the account level. Some tags will be only relevant for a certain space. Other tag values the users can decide what they would be. And the platform will automatically apply those tags for all the resources. So in addition, what you can see here at the top is like the status of the environment, the owners. You can add additional collaborations, additional users that you want to be able to access this environment. We actually show you the cost estimation of this environment as well. You can see how much time you have left. And if you need more time, you can easily go ahead and extend it if the policy allows you to do it. Next, two last tabs here are updates and drift changes. So these are really, really cool things to help you kind of manage the life cycle and secondary operations of the environment itself. So drift changes, what essentially is doing. So if, for example, someone went into the cloud and changed the configuration of my S3 bucket here, then we would detect that there is a drift, there is difference between the Terraform configuration and the state of the resource in the cloud. You will see the notification that here that there is the drift, and you also have the option to remediate this drift, what means to bring it to its desired state. And updates doing something very similar, but from the other side. If something changed in the Terraform configurations, then you also have the option to kind of update, push those latest changes to make sure that your environment uses the latest code. And lastly, you also have the option to publish quick links to the end user, which is super handy. This example, it's like a very simple demo environment. It's just what I launched here is a static website with a simple Tetris game, which is very addictive. But the point here is that you can publish quick links to the end users, which really helps them to kind of interact with the resources in the environment. And you also have obviously the option to see all the actual Terraform resources that were created. Going here to the environments, I can actually see a snapshot of all my environments. If I remove this filter here, if I have the permissions, then I can see a view of all the environments that are currently active in my space. And for the for DevOps or for IT, it gives a very good view of all the activities that are currently happening. And this is a very helpful kind of view to see everything that's going on. Going back to my environments, another cool thing that I want to show you, I will go ahead and enter a different environment that I pre-launched in advance. Here you can see that we have actually a few building blocks, and there's also an option of a more simplified view for end users. And this is actually the view that end users are going to see, where they don't need to actually see all the underlying infrastructure, all the cloud resources, networking and stuff. They mostly care about just, okay, how do I access my application? How do I access my VM, etc. So this is kind of a more simplified view. And you also have the option to run different actions on those resources. The actions are those workflows that we saw previously. So, right, it can be either triggered by a schedule or directly by the end user on demand. Right, now, you saw how I launched an environment manually, right, through our UI, but that's not the only way to launch environments in Torque. Looking at our community page, you can see that we have a bunch of different integrations. For example, we have some CI/CD integrations like Jenkins or Azure DevOps, which gives you the option very easily to trigger environments from your CI/CD pipeline. We have CLI, GitHub actions as well. So there are a lot of different ways to interact with Torque and launch environments. Now let's, unless there are any questions, let's actually talk about how we create those tiles here in the catalog, right? Those blueprints. So in order to do this, I will actually switch to a different space called Discovery. And it all starts by connecting your, kind of bringing into the platform your existing automation assets, right? So you can connect your Git repository. We support almost all of the main Git providers out there. You connect your repository to Torque, then we run Discovery on that repository and give you the option to import all your existing automation assets. So, if you already have Helm charts, Terraform scripts, CloudFormation templates, right? You don't have to throw it away. You can reuse everything and create this layer of governance on top of it using Torque. So I ran Discovery here on this repo. And let's go ahead and, for example, I want to import this guy. So I can go ahead and generate a blueprint for it. What actually happens is we generate a YAML, that YAML blueprint, right, for that Terraform asset. Let me open this in a little bit larger window so you can actually see what's going on here. This guy. So our YAML syntax is, it's super simple. It's one file that just kind of think of it like a wrapper around your automation asset that normalizes how users interact with it by normalizing the inputs and outputs to that automation asset. In this case, right, we automatically detected that there is a kind of Terraform. We know where it's located. We know all the inputs that it has, and we automatically generated this YAML for you. You can obviously go ahead and change it to modify it however you want, to be for your use case. And you can also go ahead and commit it to your source control, and it will automatically show up here in the blueprints section. Now that's kind of the more advanced way, I would say, to create blueprints. We also have a very kind of intuitive visual designer to help you create new blueprints. So I can just go ahead here, click on new blueprint. Let's give it a name. Demo blueprint, click create. And then I have here a list of different assets. I can also explore the different community assets that we have and import additional assets. And you can also add your own assets to this list as well, right? So you have the option to really decide what's available here. Let's see how can I quickly, build a blueprint with several building blocks. So let's say I'm going to add a VPC, security group. Maybe I also need an RDS. Right, so I added those assets here. I can go ahead and create the relevant dependencies. And all is left is just go ahead and fill in some inputs. So I'm going to select on which agent I want this guy to run from the available agents. Maybe two sentences about agents, right? Agents are essentially a container, right, that you deploy usually in your account, and it connects back to Torque, and Torque sends commands to the agent, right, to run different automations. And the great thing about this architecture is that usually the agent, holds all the cloud credentials, and everything is happening inside your account, right? So actually, there's very little information that's kind of leaking out of your account, and nothing is exposed. So this kind of concept of agents is really powerful because you can connect a lot of different cloud accounts from different cloud providers. Continue with building out the blueprint for the security group. So I can easily provide the VPC ID. So obviously, I don't know what's going to be, right, the VPC ID, but I know that it's an output of this guy. So I can very easily select the VPC ID here using this kind of syntax that's automatically populated here. And essentially what it means is that the output of the ID from here will be pushed here to this asset. For the name, for example, I can go ahead and publish it as an input to, on the blueprint level, which means that users that will launch this blueprint later will have an input to provide the security group name. Maybe that's not really a good use case. They just give it a name, and we will publish the RDS name, or the database name. That perhaps makes more sense. And I think I have one more input I forgot to populate here. As you can see, there's a lot of different inputs, all of them already filled with default values. Obviously, you can go ahead and change it if it's needed. All right. And awesome. We can see that everything looks good. And I can also actually go ahead and switch to the YAML view, and we can see all the YAML code automatically generated for us, right, using this visual designer. I can just go ahead and save the changes. Nice. And automatically I can go ahead and launch it or publish it to the catalog. And then end users also will be able to consume this blueprint. Okay, cool. Any questions on this so far?
Yes, Alex, thank you. This is great so far. We did have a question that came in, but I wanted to make sure you got into the designer canvas here. But when you were showing integrations, we did get a question about Jenkins integration, support for Jenkins. Do you mind giving a quick overview of that?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so if you're using Jenkins, what I've seen with a lot of customers that worked with that, that try to run Terraform in Jenkins is that you have this kind of spaghetti code with a bunch of scripts in Jenkins where you try to run Terraform, and some customers I've seen that they try to templatize Terraform with some different Ansible. Like, it becomes very cumbersome and complicated to manage. And kind of the cool thing that you can do, by using Torque with Jenkins, is you can very easily launch an environment from your pipeline. We have a plugin for Jenkins that you can, install. It will give you like a one line to launch your environment. And once the environment is ready, you can just, use the endpoints of the environment to run all the tests that you need, or or provision whatever assets are built in that pipeline. And obviously, it's much easier also to control the life cycle of the environment. If you need to launch the environment, end the environment, do different updates. Essentially, think of it like taking all the boilerplate code that you have inside your pipeline and shifting it inside the Terraform blueprints. Sorry, inside the Torque blueprints. And I hope that answered the question.
Yep, I think so. So one thing I actually I wanted to press a little bit more on when you were looking at the catalog and you launched an environment, you referenced policies a couple of times. Do you think you can clarify a little bit how work uses policies over the environments that people launch?
So the question is how the policies are impacting the launch of
Yeah, I think it would help to give a little more detail. And you showed that
Mhm.
policies are applied
Yeah.
to environments and that they'll allow or they won't allow certain
Mhm.
activity. Could you explain how we set, where to set policies, how those work?
Yeah, it's actually a good segue. That's something I wanted to talk about as kind of the next step. So yeah, so it's a good question. So with this, let's go to our account settings. And as you can see, there are a lot of different things that you can set up and configure here. We will not have time to go over everything. Let's take a look at policies. So here we have a bunch of, you can see here a bunch of policies. So essentially the policies in Torque are based on OPA, or OPAM, as Open Policy Language that's using the Regal language. It's very powerful and flexible policy engine. It's open source. We also provide a lot of out-of-the-box policy templates that you can use to generate policies. And if that's not enough for you, you can obviously go ahead and bring in your own policies by connecting a Git repo that contains a Regal file, and you'll be able to create a policy from that. And let's take a look maybe at one of the examples here. So we have an allowed providers policy. We can select on which spaces the policy applied, specific spaces, or all spaces. And as you can see here, we only allow 2 providers. Right? We can create those type of policies for a lot of different things out of the box very easily for what providers are allowed, what VM sizes are allowed, what regions are allowed, what is the maximum duration of environments. You notice that I launched an environment right in the cloud without any ticketing or any of that kind of overhead. It was very easy. But sometimes some environment might be very maybe expensive to launch, and I do want to put additional guardrails around it, right? So we can also, using policies, we can specify that certain environments require approval for launch. So there are a lot of different kind of policies and guardrails that you can set using this engine here. And next also I would like, by the way, does this answer the question?
I think so. Yep.
Awesome.
Thanks, Alex.
Yeah, and next I would like to touch quickly about workflows. So I talked about it previously, and that's where you can actually see all the kind of catalog of available workflows. You can add additional workflows. We have a list of predefined actions that can be used to create certain workflows. And if that's not enough, obviously you can bring in your own actions, and all the actions are based on Ansible playbooks, right? So if you're already using Ansible, it should be very easy to create additional actions and build workflows on top of them. And lastly, would like to talk about reporting in Torque. Starting with the activity. So no, we have reports on the account level and also on the space level, right? On the space, obviously, you see everything in the context of that specific space. On the account, you'll see everything. So here we're looking at the activity report for the account level. And we can see, all the usage of the platform, how many environments were launched, how many are on demand or always on, for how long our environments are up, different users that are launching environments, right? A lot of different kind of information that I can also slice and dice with all the filters here at the top to really give me a good visibility of what's happening in the platform and all the cloud usage. And another cool thing that Torque is doing is actually collecting all the cost data from all the environments that are launched through Torque. And this information is available in the cost report. So we show you the actual cloud cost for all the environments that are launched. So this is a demo account, right, with not too much activity here. That's why it's 0. But we also show you the realized cost savings or potential savings that you can apply. The realized cost savings, this information comes from environments that were automatically powered off by Torque, right? For example, you have environments that should not be up and running during the night because no one is using them. You can set to automatically power them off when no one is using them, and power on during business hours. And we know how to capture this data and show how it affects the cost. And customers that apply this, they have thousands and thousands of cost savings in the cloud. Obviously, you can see kind of breakdown by different cloud accounts. So if you have a kind of multi-cloud strategy, it's really helpful to see everything in one place. Cost by spaces, by different users, blueprints, etc. And I would also add that really the added benefit of what you see here, right, compared, for example, to Cost Explorer in AWS, is that those cost tools in the cloud, they usually show you the cost per resource type, right? How much you spend for compute, how much you spend for storage. But it doesn't give you enough context of, okay, why you spent this so and so dollars on compute or on storage, on other resources, because it's lacking usually the intent and the business activity. And that's exactly what the additional layer that Torque provides, because everything, all the cost is around the blueprint and the environment. And the environment represents a certain business activity that's taking place.
Alex, I'm going to chime in here. We actually have a question asking how this cost data is calculated, asking if it uses billing data to calculate these costs. I think it's a good time to chime in since you brought up Cost Explorer.
Yeah, so the way this is calculated is that you need to set up and allow us to get access to the cost data for each of the cloud accounts that you want to have the cost visibility. It's kind of one-time configuration. Once you do this, we pull the cost from that account on a daily basis, and we know how to aggregate it and make it available through the reports. And also, remember I talked about all the tags that are automatically applied, right? So some of the tags are also automatically applied out of the box, even without you doing anything, like the environment ID and the space name from where these resources were created. So also using this tag information that we pull from the cloud, we know how to kind of aggregate everything into those nice looking reports. Any additional questions from the crowd?
Not at this time, Alex.
Right, awesome. And yeah, I think that covers what kind of what I wanted to show in this session. If there are any questions, yeah, we're happy to answer them.
Yeah, so we've worked through all of the questions here. I do see we have one. I'm going to take this question on my own. We had a question about Torque pricing. We actually publish our pricing models on our website at quali.com/pricing. To give you a quick overview for Torque, we essentially have 3 packages. We offer a fully free tier that's usually ideal for small teams or individual developers. Our professional tier is post-pay pricing based on the environment uptime. So how long the environments you run last. You'll agree to a rate for that calculates that it's based on the runtime for your environments. So think about teams with short-term temporary environments for tests and things like that. That's usually a very good option. And then our enterprise package is a prepay option where for teams where the post-pay might get prohibitively costly, right? So think about large teams with longer term environments. But if you go to our to quali.com/pricing, you can learn a little bit more there. I'm not seeing any other questions. So I just want to thank everybody for taking the time here. I see that almost everybody stayed for the whole session. That's great to see. And thank you again to Alex for taking the time to walk us through the platform.
Thanks, Colin.
All right. Have a great day, everybody.
Thanks. Bye.